Okay, so we were talking about the possible different fingering options for Friend of the Devil, and what we saw in the Howard Stern thing was that the important part of the theme, I guess, is the descending scale. It's just the G scale. Now, what I had you doing was starting with the G on the fourth string, so we could get a really rich sound out of strumming the rest of the chord, and then going to a whole C chord here before it comes home. Now, what they were doing there was the first string was even out of the equation. He never even played it, and the highest note we heard was a D. I played on the second string, and then he started the scale on the open G rather than the fretted G, and that's why you didn't see any movement of his hand, or so the whole time throughout all 8 of those notes in the scale, third finger was on the D. And you can hear there's not the rich, the bright sound that we're getting by playing the G that way. It's a little more subdued and muted, but the scale comes out great. And even when the bass gets down to the C's, to the fifth string, we don't really hear the fourth string open. We don't hear. I mean, he's pretty much aiming. All of the strokes in the strumming are really just aiming for the second and third strings, which means that we're just getting the G and the D, which are the root and fifth of a G chord. So he's really just treating the whole thing as a G chord with the scale going down underneath behind it.
Okay. Okay.
And so, I mean, it makes it a little bit easier. You still gotta make a bit of a stretch there with your fourth finger, but then, yeah, that's not. But that's why you thought you saw something going on with his fourth finger, I think. And
Yeah.
many times when he started it, he still had the G on in the bass that he had just played. So you'd hear this, and then he may not even take that finger off of the G until he needs it for the C. So that the low G that got played could could still be ringing over the second time through the scale.
Yeah.
So um,
Yeah. That's all kind of a stretch.
yeah, you could do it though. You got your fingers are long enough to be able to do that. It's just yeah,
Probably, but
yeah, yeah.
well, okay. Okay, well that clarifies that, but um, I think I'll stick with the other way.
I like that idea better. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so the other aspect of this, I'll play a little bit of this, but if I just try to run down the scale, um,
Same finger, right?
is there a after that? Is there a complete?
Yeah, you pretty much want a down and an up after each of those bass notes. Now the up is very small. It's you barely hear it, but you do hear the down strongly.
Yeah. Boy, I'm not familiar in this.
Go down just a little bit. Go a little slower.
I'll get this.
Yeah, yeah.
What is
Okay.
um, but is it a bridge?
Yeah, we'll come back. I'll get back to that in just a second. Got a couple
Okay.
things on my. This got better the second time. Make sure on the D's that you're getting, alternating down to the fifth string in the bass, 5 and 4, and then on the A minors, 5 to 4, right? And you could always throw in a hammer on the second bass note of the A minor too. That's a good place to do it. The same way as we've seen in I've Just Seen a Face and some of that other stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Okay.
on the D, there's not really an option for that because both bass notes are open. And then also work on slow it down even a little bit more, and really shoot for getting a soft up in there after each of those downs. Just because it's just a little too stiff, a little too monotonous there, as opposed to. And I think sometimes on the C, you forgot to put the parts, all of the C down. That's okay. And then, and then just as far as the arrangement goes, if you were singing it, we've got 2 sets through of the scale part is a verse.
Hmm.
Get into the chorus, and it's D to A minor only twice. Said I'm prone but take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. If I get home before daylight, I just might get some sleep tonight. D's there, and then the descent starts. So you have 4 bass notes on D before you start the descent to go back into the G.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, I wasn't singing it myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So you never get to A minor a third time. You only get to the A minor twice in the
Okay.
chorus, and then you come back to D, but you don't start the descent yet. You finish four bass notes first, then the descent.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the bridge also starts on D, and it's very similar to the chorus,
Right.
but it's D and C, right? Got 2 reasons why I cry away each lonely night. So it's 4 measures of D, and then 4 measures of C,
Okay.
then 4 measures of D again. This time not to C though. Now it goes to A minor for if he catches up with me, and then C. C on the way. Spend my life in, and then jail is the D.
Okay, but when you go back to D, is it 4 plus the walk down?
Yeah, yeah. So it's the same thing. It's 4 and then the walk down.
Okay. And the that bridge comes uh,
After a chorus.
after a chorus.
And that's typically what a bridge does in a song is it replaces a verse. So if we were just doing a normal verse chorus verse chorus verse chorus alternating, the
Yeah.
bridge usually replaces a verse, and then usually, well, a lot of times it just goes into another chorus, but that's not what happens here. In this case, the bridge always goes into the last verse.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
but the bridge is slightly out of square too, because we have like 4 measures of D. Got 2 reasons why I cry. Wage lonely night. 4 measures of C. First one's named Sweet Anne Marie. She's my heart's delight. 4 Ds. Second one is the prison babe. Sheriff's on my trail. 2 A minors. If he catches up with me. 1 C. I spend my life in. So this is where it's out of balance. We had like a little block of 3 measures where it was 2 A minors and a C, and
Yeah.
then it gets back to D on the word jail, and that's now treated as the beginning of. It's now back to square. So we're missing a measure of a 16-bar phrase or something like that.
Okay.
So from the A minor, we've got if he catches up with me, I'll spend my life in jail, and then the walk down. Got a wife in Chino, babe. And that's the verse that always follows the bridge, is the wife verse. Got a wife in Chino.
Yeah.
And because they do that twice, they end up doing the bridge again later, and that last verse again.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me try this one more time here.
Okay. A little slow, and think about slower than we were just doing it. So get this. Let's get this speed in your head.
Okay.
Almost.
Second one.
First one was good though. Longer, twice as long on that D. Too long on that C. Too long on that C. It's only one measure of C.
Oh. Okay.
Coming out of the A minor.
Okay. The A minor is.
No, that was still too long on the C. It's only one measure of C there. You just did two. And this is the line, if he catches up with me, I'll spend my life in, and jail, you got to be on D. So have that, that's the,
And the if starts.
right on the A minor. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Do that one more time. So the A minor is if he catches up with me, right? Right. Not long enough on the D.
What are the words right there?
Got two reasons why I cry away each lonely night, and that's all D.
Okay.
That's two reasons why. Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. The one thing that doesn't really make musical sense is to do the descent on the D into the bridge, because you're gonna stay right on D. So if you're gonna like run through the whole song, I don't know. It doesn't sound bad to do it, but and then it just sounds like, wow, that's weird. So the bridge then comes in kind of unexpectedly, because we've heard this happen, always taking us to there, right? So it is a little musically incoherent to do this. Although what would be better then is don't end on an A. When it gets to the A, maybe hit an A and a B again, or an A and a B, or an A and a C. Like hit a couple notes to lead back to D. See what I did right there is I played an A and a B to diffuse the attention that it was going to G.
Right.
Right. So that's now. I don't think they do anything in there actually. I think in the original recording they just hang on the D chord and you don't hear the descent.
Oh,
But
okay. So there's no descent there. So you would just come out of the chorus. You would you do. Yeah.
right. I'm not too early on that. There's still,
Oh, it's too early. Oh,
you gotta
okay.
let that D settle for four bass notes first,
Oh, okay.
and then we're right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
One thing that's kind of cool. This and it relates to something you were talking about at the very beginning. Um, Relearning things or picking them up again after you've let them sit for a year or two or 10.
Yeah.
Um, the more you can learn songs the way we're doing right now, by ear and piecing it together in your head and not looking at it on a piece of paper,
Yeah.
the better it will come back when you try to refigure it out the same way. And so, like, if you didn't play this for a year, you probably would be able to reassemble it in just a couple minutes because of having learned it this way and understanding. You're hearing the sounds of, you're hearing how everything's related.
Right.
Instead of just, I got a complaint at Totally Guitars a little while ago for exactly not for never putting the words and chords on the same, like never writing chords over words, like what word the chord changes on. And you've heard me probably explain my reasoning with this before, but it's so common for somebody to look at a song and then play through it and like get it all right and stuff like that, and then have no idea what chords they even played. If I took the paper away, I say, well, what chords were in the song? It's like, oh, I don't know. I just played. My fingers just did whatever it said to do right there, and I can't remember. Was it G or E or D? It's like it just you're not consciously paying attention.
Right.
And when you learn something like this, you don't have to consciously be paying attention because you're refiguring it out as
Right.
you go.
Yeah.
So uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
anyway,
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's okay. So we made some progress on that,
yeah,
and all. Let's spend a little time on Ripple here.
okay, yeah,
Ripple. I listened to this a couple of times, and I particularly listened to your. You played it through without, you know, blocking off the
Oh, okay,
blocking it off so I could get the progression.
okay.
And so that was that turned out to be helpful when I went back and I remembered one important thing in the chorus that I couldn't remember. But
Okay.
anyway, Ripple. Okay, gotta gotta get myself back into swing time here.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? One last thing about Friend of the Devil,
Yeah,
because as soon as you started putting the melody in your head, it also made it make a whole lot more sense. You know, it's like now you could hear better where the chords were going when you had the melody. Even if you didn't even need all of the words right, but you just had like some keywords.
yeah,
But see, then you could hear when the change had to happen. Like all of a sudden,
yeah,
that short C made perfect sense.
yeah,
You know, it's
yes,
instead of trying to remember that how long do I stay on C is barking up the wrong tree. You
yep,
know,
yep,
pay
yep,
attention. Yeah.
yep.
Anyway, yeah. So you gotta switch gears now. Do 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 do.
Yeah, yeah, and trying to fit in some portion of the melody here,
Yeah.
yeah, which is the uh, okay. I gotta decide which I'm what I'm doing here.
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that's okay. That's where it goes. But let me.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay. Um, it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
have to.
One of those chords was still wrong.
Huh?
One of those chords was wrong still.
Okay. Yeah. It's see. It goes from A minor.
Right.
I wrote down the chord numbers here, so I remember what I was doing.
Right. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, it's A minor. Du- 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 dun, dun, Yep.
Yeah, really good.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, why is there an A chord in there?
We actually talked about this a little bit last week.
Yeah.
Um, it is the secondary dominant that pulls us to D.
Yeah, good. Okay, so again, most of the time, if you see a chord in a song that doesn't seem like it's in the key, there's like an 80% chance that's what's happening. That it's now probably 80% of that time, maybe 10 or 20% of that time, it may not go to the chord that it's five of, but it still gets treated as if it's there. You know, like I can't remember what song I was just listening to the other day. Um, oh, maybe it's anyway. It was the same. It was in G, and it went to an A chord, but then to C before D. So it's kind of like the C almost took the wind out of the sails of the A with its pull to D, but it was completely intentional. You know, it wasn't like an accident that whoever put it together did.
Right.
So even we would still label that A as five of five, and so meaning that because D is five
Yep.
and A is five of D.
Right.
So when we number these using like Roman numerals to represent what chord number we're on, this would have a slash in it, and it would have a five and a slash and then another five.
Oh, okay.
That's how we would write that. We'd say it's five of five.
So in my
Oh yeah. So in
okay,
that notation, where is that one that has where's the A chord then?
A chord's in the last line. It's
Wait, we got oh okay oh so yeah so what do you have there? That looks like a two to me.
uh
Where the A chord is.
maybe it's the second line. No, it's no. The last line is G. Like I'm reading it backwards here.
Okay.
Is G to C, and then that two there. The Roman numeral twos is my A.
Right. Okay. So that's not how we would write it. What
Okay.
we write something like this. Five of five,
Okay.
like a fraction.
Got it. Okay. But is my A minor right there? Is that correct?
So for the A minor, I would write it with two small i's.
Two small I's. Okay.
So that's the notation I'd use for a minor chord. See that?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, the minor chord. Whoops. Whoa, 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 whoa. What did I just do there? Hang on. I just goofed something up here. What did I do? What did I do? Are you still there, Neil?
Yeah. Yeah. I still see you, and
You still see me, and I'm trying to figure out.
how to get back to Zoom maybe or something.
Uh, let's see. Now I did that.
Okay.
Uh,
Everything looks fine and sounds fine. I guess are you just saying you can't see me, huh?
I can't see because I'm on the main page of Zoom here.
I wonder if you hit the red button up in the corner to close that.
Back to meeting. Back to meeting. That was the one.
Ah, okay.
Back.
There we
Now I can see you. Okay.
go.
All right. So anyway, this was two small i's. That means the second chord minor, and this is 5 of 5.
Yeah.
Okay, I got my notation right now. That doesn't occur anyplace else in this song.
That's the only place that that would happen. And so the same way we use small Roman numerals for minor chords and large capital ones for majors, we could also, if the chord there had been A7 instead of A, you would just do that. You would just put a 7 on the 5,
On the 5.
you know. Um, and again, 90% of the time when you have that secondary dominant that looks like that, the chord that follows it is whatever it was 5 of, you know.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and so we could have had 5 of 4 somewhere in a song, and we would write that exact same thing, except it would look like that now, 5 7 of 4,
Right.
and then we'd expect the next chord to be 4.
4. Oh, well, that makes much more sense all the way around.
Okay, and
Yeah.
what chord would that be if we wanted to? Now we're in a different song, and we're in the key of G.
Okay.
What chord would you play to be a 5 7 of 4?
It would be a 5 7 of 4. Okay, so 4 is C. And so in C, the we're looking for the fifth of C,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. And so the fifth of C is going to be A. No. Oh, G. It's G.
Right. So this kind of thing happens in country songs all the time. I've got a song in the key of G,
Yeah.
and I might have a couple phrases. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. So what I did there was in the first 2 lines just went back and forth between 1 and 5, G
Yeah.
and D. But in the third line, I wanted to do something different, and so I wanted that third line to start with C, with 4. And so in the last measure of line 2 is when I put in the G7, which is of course not in the key of G, it's the dominant to 4. And that will always be the relationship between what's chord 1 in a key. If you
Yep.
turn it into a 7th chord, it's 5 of 4. It's taking it to 4. So it's again a really common. Here's my song again. G. Da, 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 da. I'm going to D7 there again. Da 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 da. There's my G7. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. So it sounded like Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Or yeah, when you're playing that, I was thinking, this is some Chris Christopherson song. I can't,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't identify. But
Yeah, and so that was just a really almost generic country progression that I just put together. You know, in the first line, just going from 1 to 5 and back,
yep.
doing the same thing in the second line, 1 to 5 and back, but now I put in the secondary dominant to take me to 4, so that third line starts on 4, and maybe just goes from 4 back to 1, and the fourth line is just like the first line. Oh no, I go to 5 right away. Da 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 da. So again, my little 16 measure progression was 1, 5, 1, and again 1, 5, 1, and now the secondary dominant to take me to 4, 2 measures of 4, 2 measures of 1, 2 of 5, da 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 da. So there are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of songs that go just like that with different rhythms in different keys and things like that. But it's, I mean, you could hear that that's just a really solid,
Yeah.
and that's how people like John Prine put songs together, and Christopherson, and Johnny Cash and stuff like that. That
Yeah.
that's it's really different than James Taylor type stuff and Carole King stuff and things.
Yeah. 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 Very different. Yeah. Maybe that's why I heard that. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, but that's really good progress on Ripple. I mean, it's there's a part in okay. So notice there's a little mechanical difficulty part right there at the end of the G chord, right? Those couple notes right there, just before the C chord, are a little clumsy because you got a lot of notes to play in there, right? Da 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 da. And if we figure out, if we get the downs and the ups right in there, it
It's
almost, not quite. Try again. No, the last two have to be opposite from what you did. It's going to be down, down, up, down, down, up, down. The last one has to be a down because that's where the chord change on the C would happen. Now up. That's the next one's an up.
okay.
The last two notes,
Okay. It's down. It's down on the G,
right,
down on the B,
right,
up on the A.
right, and now another up on the B coming up. Right. Okay. Yeah. So that last one, that last G has to be a down, and the note before it has to be an up. So there's two ups in a row.
Okay. So it's okay. If we were counting this, it would be 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
Yeah. Except it starts on beat 2. So it's actually beat 2 is the first down.
Oh, okay. So it's 2, 3, and
Missing 4 now.
4, and 5. Oh, and 1, 2,
Yeah. So that G that you hit, that last melody note you hit, is beat 1
1
of the C measure.
of the next measure of the C measure. Okay. 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I don't, yeah, that 4 and the and of 4 one. The and of 4 is
Right.
that D, right?
Yeah.
And then the G.
Yeah. Now that next melody note after the G, if you were singing da da, kind of comes down to an E, right? But that doesn't happen on beat 2. That really wouldn't happen until beat 3 if you were singing it, right? You'd sing da 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 da, right? So,
Yeah,
so if you put a strum in there, if you hit that G alone on beat 1,
right.
putting a strum in on beat 2 now kind of blurs the melody a little bit because now I'd really need to get this note on 3, which I think I could do. Yeah, okay, so you put a strum in on 2, but that's not the next melody note. The melody note, the bomb, the E in the melody, really has to come in on beat 3 after you've strummed that C on 2.
Okay, on 2 then.
So I think what was happening when you were kind of singing this or humming it while you were doing it, you were singing that melody note when you put the strum in there on 2.
Okay.
And even like there, like that D you just played is beat one.
Is one of, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I see that now. Okay, now I get that. Okay.
So it's easy to get the math messed up when you play a melody note on one and then come in with a strum on two, and you think that strum was the first beat of the measure. It wasn't,
Okay.
right? Because you played a melody note on one and then you came in with a strum on two. When you were playing it a little while ago, you always seemed like you were in the right place. Like you could hear when the chord change would happen and where the melody notes were. So I think you've got it assembled well in your head.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of getting your hands to cooperate.
Okay. 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 Then it goes from do, do, oh, now we're back into G.
Right, right, and then we kind of have the repeat of the melody. I mean, it's pretty much the same over the G as it was the first time,
Right.
and then you've got the different progression at the end where we got the D that comes in and the C.
Right. And then we get to the okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
I think you got it.
I'll work through that. And I think and it's a question of how many of those melody notes to try to plug in, I think. And
Yeah, you definitely don't need all of them. You don't have to match the vocals syllable for syllable.
right,
You don't need if my words did. You don't need all those repeated B's. Bom, 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 bom. There were like four of them.
right,
You just bom, bom, bom. One is enough. So if you're
yeah,
thinking of the words, you don't have to have as many repeated notes that there might be in the vocals. When he does sing the same note over three or four syllables, sometimes you could just blur that into being one or two. You don't have to be note specific for the melody to match what a singer might be doing.
but in general, I'm like on at the end of that C run where we're going back to G, um, the E, I think it's an E.
Oh
Is
yeah.
is that acting like the bass note of the upcoming measure, or
I'm not sure where you are there. You're talking about on the C chord when we have an E in the melody. So actually, the last melody note on the C is an E, and now the D that's coming up in the melody is the first beat of our G chord again.
is
Oh, and when you get into that last line, try to strum the G chord because we've just come from a C chord, and now we want to hear this melody note, but we want to hear this. So, especially in those last four measures, try to work in there's a melody note on the first beat of every chord. But you want to work that, have that melody note be part of a strum, but just try to make sure that melody note comes out clear. Like right there, I strummed my G chord and I stopped it on the second string so that the B really stood out. And even there on that D chord, even though the melody is here, I just strummed the whole chord, and you know the melody, so you're going to hear that note in there instead of going. In other words, yeah, either one's going to sound fine. I mean, it actually sounded fine when I went to that D chord. And then if I just hit the melody by itself, the A, and strum, that's okay, but it's also okay to just strum the whole D chord and let that A be heard or even inferred by the listener, because it's in there.
Okay. Could you just play me through one
Yeah,
the simple version of verse chorus here?
sure. I guess really on that C chord, I want to hear a D to a E like on the first beat. Something like that.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And then in the chorus, I really wouldn't play the melody in the chorus. The melody gets a little too low. Yeah, it gets, on a D chord, you need this melody here, an F sharp to, oh. It would work to take the melody up a whole octave there in the chorus if you want to try that. And you'd have to start on the A minor up here because the melody note would be an A. And now with the D chord, it would now all the melody notes would be easy to reach on the first and second strings here. That's the A then. So if you want to mess with that a little bit, the other thing I just did the first time I played it, when I went to the A minor, I did it without a full bar, just doing the small A minor, using open A in the bass, and then just the 3-string bar at the 5th and the 7th fret up here. And then on the G chord, what I did here was I just let go of the whole chord to reach up to an A there. If I'd fingered it more efficiently, I could have kept the G on in the bass, but kind of unnecessary. And then for the A chord, the melody is also an A. So that might be another good little project for you if you want to mess around with.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
This week's project. Okay. Good.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. I will be working on all that. So.
It all sounded really good.
Okay. Good. So